Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our online members meeting. Just checking everybody can hear okay. Coming through nice and clear. Okay, that's great. All right, well, welcome. Thank you everyone for making the time to join our online members meeting. My name is Penny Corner. I'm the Executive Director here at the Master Plumbers Association of Queensland. Today I'm going to be asking Kim Campbell and Ernie Kretschmer to also provide an update in relation to IR, HR, and also some technical as well. Please be advised we are recording this session today, and we also had the same session on Friday. So we run 2 sessions every time we do it. One during the daytime for those people that find it easier to join during the day. And then for those that prefer to do it at nighttime, we've got a session for you, which we're running tonight. So you can submit your questions through the chat and we'll take some time to do some Q&A, or alternatively, please just feel to, go off mute and say you'd like to ask a question and we can take them from the floor as well. All right, so today in the meeting, we're going to cover the following. I'm going to provide you an update in regards to what's happening at MPAQ. Kim is going to talk you through the COVID-19 vaccination update, the annual Christmas and New Year shutdown period, and also company Christmas parties, what you need to do in order to prepare for those. And then Ernie's going to give you an update in relation to interstate licensees. So what are the requirements when recruiting for a plumber interstate? What do you need to do? The fire licensing update, training package changes from the 26th of November, and then also the lead in plumbing. Sorry, it doesn't want to change to the next slide. Can you see that on the next slide, Kim?
Sorry, Penny, I can't change the next slide either.
Okay, I'll just see if I can. I'll just stop sharing for a second and then I'll move it on to the next slide.
You've got to love technology sometimes, don't you?
I know, right? Okay, I think it's going to work now. All right, so I'm going to provide, I'm not sure why that says fire licensing, but Ernie's going to talk about fire licensing shortly. So I'm going to talk about the construction plastic recycling scheme. So MPAQ has created a construction plastic recycling scheme, and the scheme's aim is really to divert valuable PVC offcuts and pipe fittings from landfill to be recycled into new PVC pipes, contributing to the circular economy. Throughout the development of the recycling scheme, a committee has been formed, and the committee's role and function has been developed has really been around developing a framework for the practical implementation of the construction plastic recycling scheme. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be collecting and auditing waste of PVC from construction sites, from residential construction, and also some trade suppliers in Queensland as well. The pilot program commenced on the 1st of November and it'll run through until the 31st of May. And this was launched on Friday. We held a breakfast down at Reese at the Gold Coast at Labrador store, where one of the bins is located. And you're welcome to visit these stores and put in any offcuts that you may have that you want to get rid of. They'll be able to collect them and take them all for you. We are only trying them at certain locations at this stage, but we do hope in the future that we'd be able to offer it to other stores as well. So the Reese Labrador, as I mentioned, and also at TradeLink Wollongabba, they've got some bins there and you'll be able to put in your offcuts. So that's just a little bit of an update around the construction plastic recycling scheme. There is some information available on our website as well for anyone that's interested. And also we put out a social media post on Friday as well to let people know about it. Okay, so that's the construction plastic recycling scheme. The next one I just wanted to touch on was in relation to the Code of Practice discussion paper. So the Petroleum and Gas Inspectorate are developing a code of practice for hydrogen safety, and they're seeking feedback from industry and other stakeholders to inform the technical elements and considerations in the code of practice. So the Hydrogen Safety Code of Practice discussion paper addressed a range of topics, and they include safety regulation frameworks applying to hydrogen in Queensland, approvals for hydrogen gas devices, gas work licenses and authorisations, including training and competencies for hydrogen gas work, hydrogen suppliers and delivery networks, hydrogen fuel stations, odour requirements for fuel gas containing hydrogen, and hydrogen in pipelines and gas distribution systems. So the discussion paper closed on Friday and MPAQ has provided feedback to that one. So we're just waiting for the department to come back to us. So just a little bit of an update there. Moving on to the training and events. So the training and events calendar for 2022 has been developed and they'll be released soon. So the calendar includes a range of different courses and also events to be delivered not just in Southeast Corner, but also regionally as well. So details will be available up on the website soon in relation to the 2022 dates. We'll also put out correspondence to let members know as well. The next one was just in relation to the annual general meeting. So MPAQ holds an annual general meeting each year. This year's meeting will be held on Tuesday, the 30th of November. It's from 1 till 2 p.m. The meeting will be held at our office at Plumbing Industry House, which is at Acacia Ridge, but members will also be able to join online as well. An email has gone out about that already, but if anyone needs more information, please let us know and we can register you for the annual general meeting. The next item was just in relation to our Plumbing and Gas Industry Awards presentation dinner. So on Friday night, we were very fortunate that we were finally able to run our Plumbing and Gas Industry Awards night. It was held at the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre, and it was a great evening with over 640 attendees there. And I suppose we've had to cancel on a number of occasions, so it was really great that we were finally able to run it. We experienced record numbers of nominations as well as part of this program, and there was such a high calibre of nominations and entrances put forward. So congratulations to all of our winners. Details, some of the posts have already gone up in terms of our social media posts for those winners, but they'll also be going up today and tomorrow as well, so you'll be able to see those. The next one is in relation to standards. So we're very happy to announce that we are going to be proceeding with SAI Global, and members will have the ability to not only view, but also download and print standards. So this new offer is available now. You don't have to wait for our new contract to be signed off. It is available now. So we will be communicating this message out to members, but felt that it was important for you guys to know about it today. So they're all accessed through our website. And if anyone has any questions, Ernie is the person to ask in relation to standards. All right, I'm now going to hand over to Kim, and Kim is going to give you an update in relation to the COVID-19 vaccination. So I'll go on mute and I'll hand over to Kim. Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Penny. If you can just move to the next slide. Sorry, I can't change the slides. Okay, so the Queensland Premier has announced a range of measures that will apply from the 17th of December 2021, or once the state reaches 80% of eligible Queenslanders fully vaccinated. These measures will affect everyone from 16 years of age and over. So some of the things the Premier has noted is that events in all Queensland government stadiums, you will need to be double vaccinated. Hospitality venues, for example, pubs, clubs, restaurants, cafes, etc., you will need to be double vaccinated. Entertainment venues, music festivals, government-owned galleries, museums and libraries, you will all need to be double vaccinated. There's going to be no COVID limit on weddings where all attendees are double vaccinated. However, if you do have unvaccinated attendees, the limit will be 20 people at that event. Everyone in the healthcare industry, so both public and private hospitals, day surgeries, even your normal GP clinics, pharmacies, optometrists, private nurse offices, allied health clinics, dental surgeries, and private pathology centres. So you'll no longer be able to visit these if you're not double vaccinated. The same with aged care facilities, prisons, disability services, etc. So there will be some exceptions, and they are childbirth, emergency or end of life visits. So what does this mean to you as a business? So if we move on to the next slide, thanks, Penny. So we're seeing more and more calls coming in from members where customers, particularly your larger companies, are asking from certain dates that only vaccinated tradespeople attend their premises or projects or work sites. For your employees, at the moment, it's not mandatory for employees in the plumbing industry or even the building and construction industry to be vaccinated. Therefore, you can only strongly recommend that your employees consider vaccination. The HR team, so both myself and Emma, we have some tools and that available for you. We've got a template email that you can send to your employees. And you may want to consider allowing your employees time off to have the vaccinations, or some members are actually offering incentives to their employees. You'll need to cite an employee's vaccination certificate to ensure you're sending a vaccinated employee to a job where it's requested. This is personal health information, and the employee is not obligated to show you their vaccination certificate. However, if an employee states that they're vaccinated, but they don't show you their vaccination certificate, they have to be treated as an unvaccinated employee because you actually have no proof that they have had their vaccinations. If you have contracts with large companies, for example, BHP, Horizon, BMA, even QBuild and some other government agencies will request proof of vaccination. So in some instances, they may ask your employee to upload their vaccination certificate to their program. That is your employee's choice to do that. It's important to note that you cannot terminate an employee who refuses to have the COVID vaccination. To do so may leave your company open to unfair dismissal or other actions. However, there may come a time when you have limited work for an unvaccinated employee. If this happens, you will need to contact the HR team before acting on any decisions. The reason that I say this is each case is different. So we would need to speak with you and go through what your issues are and what the needs of the business are. And in saying that, MPAQ has organised a webinar with Robert King from Cornwalls. This will be held this Wednesday at 10 a.m. Can I please ask you to register for it, even if you can't attend that webinar? If you register, you'll be sent the slides, the presentation slides from that webinar. Now, Robert will be going through, can employers prohibit unvaccinated workers from attending the workplace or work functions? What can employers do if they do not have available work for an unvaccinated employee due to a third party's vaccination requirement? Can an employer stand unvaccinated workers down on unpaid leave until there is available work? And what steps must an employer take before making a decision to end an unvaccinated employee's employment? So it will be a very important webinar, and I strongly encourage you, when we send out the registration notice tomorrow, that you actually register for that webinar. The HR team is also recommending that you have a COVID safe plan in place for your business. And again, both Emma and myself can assist you with that. So please just give us a call or send us through an email. MPAQ has been advocating with the state government as well, and we ask for feedback from Queensland Health in relation to some questions. So the questions that we posed to Queensland Health are in relation to the Queensland and New South Wales borders. So if a plumbing tradesman is travelling over the border, are they required to undergo COVID testing every 3 days? This is based on when Queensland reaches the 80% double vaccination. The response from Queensland Health was, once Queensland reaches the 80% double vaccination rate, if a person is entering Queensland from a hotspot, they'll be required to provide a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours prior to arrival into Queensland. If the person has only travelled to and from the border zone, the current border zone arrangements will continue to be in place. That is, that workers must be fully vaccinated when coming back into Queensland. We also asked, will the government allow people that travel regularly over the border for work purposes any dispensation? Will these people not be required to be COVID tested? The response again is, as per the advice previously given, the border zone arrangements as they are currently stand will remain in place. So I think we will have further details as we get closer to reaching the 80%, and we will send that information out to all members when we have it at hand. So can I just go on to the next slide, Penny? So we're getting to that time of the year when a lot of businesses close down for the Christmas New Year period. If you're planning a Christmas New Year shutdown, there's several obligations that you need to be aware of. So as an employer, you can direct employees to take annual leave or leave without pay for the purposes of an annual shutdown. However, it is important to note that under the Plumbing and Fire Sprinklers Award, the employer must give a minimum of 2 months written notice to employees that the company will be shutting down over the Christmas New Year period. And under the Clerks Private Sector Award, the employer must give a minimum of 4 weeks written notice to employees that the company will be shutting down over the Christmas New Year period. And if we just move on to the next slide, thanks, Penny. So it's also coming into the time where companies are holding their annual Christmas parties. So if you are planning a Christmas party this year for your employees, I've just got some tips for you to take on board. So remind your employees that they're representing your company at your Christmas party. A way to reinforce this message is, prior to the event, remind employees of the company policies and procedures and that they will be representing the company at the function. Don't let anyone drink too much, so avoid providing unlimited drinks. Ensure there's food provided and limit the drinks. If alcohol is provided, please ensure that employees have a safe way of getting home from the event. Unsavoury behaviour. So just ensure that employees are made aware of the standards of behaviour that are expected prior to the event. Hold the event away from the work premises. People tend to be more relaxed when they're out of the work environment. However, research your venues, look at any potential workplace health and safety risks or hazards as well. And then the number 5 tip is have fun. Make sure you're taking sensible precautions, but don't go overboard. You want to encourage your employees to relax and thank them for their hard work over the past year. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Kim, for your feedback and providing an update on those topics. Yeah, great idea to register for the webinar coming up on Wednesday this week. Okay, now I'm going to hand over to Ernie, and Ernie's going to give you an update in relation to the interstate licensees. Thanks, Ernie.
Good evening, all. So interstate licensing, with the current shortage on tradespersons out there to employ, it seems everyone has a job at the moment, and everyone's experiencing issues in recruiting new people. So quite often the question comes up, what or how can we recruit from interstate? You can recruit from interstate or from New Zealand. Back in the late 90s, the ANZRA agreement was made, which was the Australian and New Zealand Reciprocity Agreement. Now, this allows licensees to travel to different jurisdictions and receive the same equivalent license that they hold in their original jurisdiction in the new jurisdiction. Now, in saying that, they must be a license that transfers. It can't be the qualification. So, because the qualification requirements are different in every state and territory. So if someone is licensed in, say, New South Wales and they want to come to Queensland, they certainly can, excluding border restrictions and things like that. From a work and license point of view, they can come into Queensland, but they can't do any work until they hold the Queensland license. Now, if they were licensed in their home jurisdiction, they front up to QBCC or they contact QBCC, they present their evidence or their documents to QBCC, and they will be issued the equivalent license for which they held. Endorsements on those licenses are also reciprocal, but Queensland has the 5-year sunset clause on backflow prevention. So every 5 years here in Queensland, we have to do a revalidation to renew our backflow endorsement. No other state does that. So if they do hold an endorsement from another state that is older than 5 years, QBCC will require them to do a revalidation before they put that endorsement on their license as well. Otherwise, it's reasonably straightforward to come in from another jurisdiction or from New Zealand, as long as you're licensed in that original place. If you do just hold the qualification, you will be required to do some upskilling, because, for instance, in New South Wales, they're in the 50s for their units for licensing, where in Queensland we're at 64. So there may be some upskilling required, or some TAFE they have to attend to actually meet the requirements for licensing if they're not bringing a license with them. Now, Penny, we've lost the slideshow. I think we've lost Penny, to be honest.
I think we have too, Ernie. Do you want me to see if I can share it?
No, I'm going to wing it, Kim. The next slide was fire licensing. So last year we had the fire industry reforms, where they reformed, or they reviewed the current fire licensing and amended it to fix up some shortfalls, or to fix up some identified issues. Now, one of the main issues they had was the Certificate 2 holders, or the test and inspect license, which was a Certificate 2, either knowingly or unknowingly were working, or the majority of them were working outside the scope of their license and performing test and inspect work that they were never intended to perform, to clean all that up and all the other little things that people had found that were issues with the fire licensing. They undertook the reforms, and they came into place on 1 May this year, except for inspect and test for water on the portables license. That was extended till 1 November this year. Now, with that license, one of the unintended consequences was there's always been the ability for the last 10 or 15 years to, if you held the scope of work license for different work, you could add an additional contractor's license to your existing contractor's license. To put that a simpler way, under plumbing and drainage, we can work on hydrants and hose reels. It's part of our license, and it always has been. It also sits under the fire licensing, and because we already hold the qualifications required to do that work, if you wanted to, you could grab the hydrants and hose reels contractor's license and add it to your contractor's license. So if someone did a QBCC search on your license, it would come up Ernie, plumbing and drainage, hydrants and hose reels. And some people like that. Even though plumbing and drainage already covered you to do the work, you got an extra license for free. The unintended consequence of that is now that they've changed the licensing structure for the fire, it also changed the licensing structure for people who added those extra licenses to their contractor's license. And one of those unanticipated issues was, if you had that hydrants and hose reels license, you all of a sudden got everything that was now encapsulated under the water fire license. So people who couldn't do sprinklers all of a sudden were licensed for it. And there were a few other issues. So the fire licensing reforms are currently being reviewed again, albeit briefly, to fix up those little idiosyncrasies that have come through with the transition. I do have to stress, though, that even though we have the fire license reforms, and it was big news for the last 6 months, absolutely nothing changed to the plumbing and drainage scope of work. Work you could do before 1 May and before the recent change, you can still do now. Plumbing scope of work in relation to fire did not change. So hydrants, hose reels, pumps, all that sort of thing you can still do. If you hold the endorsement on your license for domestic and residential or commercial and industrial sprinklers, then you can work on the sprinklers. But if you don't, then you can't. Otherwise, it's life as normal for plumbing and drainage in relation to fire. Training package changes. Oh, we're back. I think. Are we back? I don't know.
Can you see that?
Oh, we are back. Hello.
Hello, thank you.
So training package changes. Every now and then we receive a new training package, or the training package is constantly under review. And roughly every 5 years, it gets amended or reviewed, and changes get made. So a brand new Certificate 3 in plumbing has been released. MPAQ was one of the reviewing bodies. It's not the best training package that's ever been devised, but we've made the best of what we could with it, and we're petitioning for the units to be delivered. They'll give us a similar, very close outcome to what we currently get, so it's not too bad. But one of the major changes that's going to affect post-trade training, such as backflow, TMV, and some other courses, some prerequisites have been introduced. Now, as of the 26th of November, those prerequisites will come into effect, or the new training package will come into effect. So the prerequisites, if you can just jump to the next slide for me. You can see there, if you were to undergo a backflow course today, you would only have to do that 4022 unit. If you undertake it after the 26th of November, you will need to hold 2 prerequisites in order to then enroll in the backflow course. It's likewise for TMV, and it's likewise for one of the gas units there. Those prerequisites won't affect the younger cohort of plumbers. People who have done their apprenticeship from 2013 or on should already hold those units because they've been a part of the training package since then. If they've come in from interstate or a different jurisdiction, they may not, so they will need to check. But for us older people who undertook their training a little while ago, I don't hold those prerequisites because they've only been around for the last 10, 15 years. If I wanted to undertake my backflow course now, I would need to go out and do those 2 courses prior to enrolling in the backflow course. Now, MPAQ doesn't directly deliver the prerequisite courses, but we have been in consultation with PICAC down at Beenleigh, who will run the courses for us, and they've given very good pricing for members. Very good pricing for members, but if they need to do them, we can organise that through PICAC, or we can put you in contact with PICAC to undertake those. So just be aware that that all changes on the 26th of this month, another week and a half. Next slide there for me, please. That's up. That's over to you, Penny.
Great, thank you. So just probably the last slide before we go to any questions was just, and sorry if this is a little bit hard to read, but this is just in relation to a lead in plumbing update. So the Australian Building Codes Board, or as we call it, the ABCB, has given consideration to whether the permissible lead content in plumbing products in contact with drinking water should be reduced. And so there was a RIS, a regulation impact statement, put out earlier this year, where they took public comment submissions from direct to the ABCB, and the decision RIS really provides input to the decision-making process, which was considered by the ABCB board at a June meeting. And at this meeting, it was agreed to limit the lead content of plumbing products in contact with drinking water to 0.25%. There is a 3-year transition period will be implemented for the recertification of copper alloy plumbing products in contact with drinking water, and it will be in conjunction with the National Construction Code and the Watermark Certification Scheme as well. And it will come into effect in the 2022 NCC, the National Construction Code, of where the Plumbing Code of Australia sits. At this stage, we're just waiting on further update from the ABCB in relation to the implementation plan, so that it can allow the industry time to transition. So if you have products in your warehouse, in your plumbing trucks, in your vans and so forth, that, you know, there'll be a period of time that you'll need to be able to use those products in order before the new low lead plumbing products come into play. All right, that's pretty much all we have in terms of the update tonight. So we might just throw open to any questions that anybody has. Any questions that you're hearing, or anything from today, or anything else that you may like to ask? Everybody's quiet, Ernie. They've all had enough for a Monday. Maybe we shouldn't do Monday meetings.
Can I ask Damien a question?
Yeah, sure.
What's the cat's name?
Actually don't know.
You don't know?
It's a rescue. So,
okay.
For example, my wife runs an animal rescue. So currently,
you're not
these
just
little critters, and that one doesn't normally touch humans. So the fact it crawled on me before I left, because it's normally skittish. It's very scared. So dogs just barked at it, so it attacked me. So I don't know its name.
That's good.
It's been in this room for about 2 months, and it doesn't come out, and it doesn't let people pat it. So the fact it just climbed on my face, I took a video of it. That was a big thing.
Well, that's what I was amazed at. I would have freaked out if a cat crawled on my face.
I don't really
So
like
an animal rescue, your wife does that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's in management there or something or other. I don't know how she handles it. There's some crazy people when you deal with animal rescues. Like we think we deal with the crazies. Try dealing with people who do animal rescues.
Whole other level, hey?
Sorry?
A whole other level.
Yeah. So we got 5 kittens, 1 cat, and 2 dogs at the moment. What's the cat's name, Hannah?
Kitty.
Is its name Kitty? It doesn't have a name, does it?
Yeah.
It's literally called Kitty Cat. There you go.
Why not? So any burning questions, Damien, while we've got you?
Right, I haven't got anything too intense at the moment. I just wanted to hear the COVID stuff, and a few of the topics all looks pretty good. So just particularly the COVID things, that's the scary thing, is a lot of us plumbers out there are wondering how long until we're going to have to check our clients in for our guys to even go into their house. Like, that could happen. We're all good. I haven't actually asked any of our guys to get the COVID vaccine. I'm the last one to do it, so I've pretty much got it now. But yeah, everyone else just went and got it, so I don't really have to worry about it too much. But I'm wondering at what point to go into someone's house we're going to have to check their vaccinated.
At this stage, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. You know, you going there having to check them, but I have heard the reverse. They can ask to see yours before they let you in.
Yeah, right.
Can I strongly recommend? So when we first went into lockdown with COVID last year, we put together a fact sheet for your customers. So if your customers start requesting that your employees have been vaccinated, I strongly suggest you revisit that customer fact sheet that we have available in the COVID Knowledge Centre on our website, which then puts the onus back on the customer as well. It tells them that you're operating under a COVID plan and you need to protect your employees. So things like they need to wipe down the area where your employees are going. They need to maintain the 1.5 metres social distancing. If they've got any symptoms, I would be requesting that they wear a mask while your employee's in there doing the work as well. So put the onus back on them as well, that they need to take steps before your employee enters their premises to do that job as well.
I'd give us a cleaner work environment in some houses too.
Yes, yes.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it dawned on me that with some of the Christmas parties and going to restaurants and things with your staff, we all have to check in and we all have to be vaccinated to go to restaurants, clubs, cafes. However, how do you know that the people that are going to be serving you and the business owners of that establishment are vaccinated as well? Is there anything coming with that?
It's my understanding, Leah, that people that work in those industries must be double vaccinated.
Do they have to prove it?
I'm assuming they would have to prove to their employer.
What about the employer?
Okay, I'm not sure.
It's funny you should say that. I'm the employer and I'm the last one to get the vaccine. Anyway, it's a different era. We'll move forward and we'll get through it. At the end of the day, there's going to be a shortage of plumbers again next year. We've got 2022 Olympics going to start getting contracts. I reckon it started 2022, and then all the insurance companies reckon we're about to get destroyed.
Oh, that's funny that you should mention that, Damien. And what is, because I'm getting some feedback from some of the members that there's a lot of high risk work, and they haven't really got a lot of feedback as to what exactly that high risk work is. It's getting knocked back from being insured by the insurers. Are you experiencing that?
Hang on, so clarify that, because I have one of these instances today. So
I'm getting some feedback from members.
I can answer that for you, Leah.
Okay.
We're seeing instances of insurance companies not insuring plumbers when it comes to multi-story buildings.
Oh, you're talking about that end. I thought you were talking about, like, for example, today I just told them they had to pay twice as much because they want a harness and they want a fixing point on every single roof. And I said, well, that means we need a recovery plan, which means 2 plumbers. anyway, different thing altogether. I use the guys that you guys recommended, the insurance company, and every 12 months they just send me a new one, and they change me every year. So it's quite easy. But yeah, there's multi-level, has a lot of companies that cut it out.
So Leah, a lot of insurance companies, in fact, the majority of insurance companies won't insure plumbers over a certain height.
Yeah, I'm getting feedback that it's even more things. So.
No, it's got nothing to do with climbing or anything. It's the height of the building.
Yeah, as soon as you're up to 3 stories, so if you're in a 3-story house or you're on level 2 or something, your insurance.
Well, it depends on the company. Depends on the insurance company. Some are 6 floors, some are 3 floors, some are 10 floors, whatever. And it's mainly due to flexible hoses bursting. So the flexible hose bursts and floods 6 floors below it. They don't want to pay for it all, so they won't insure you.
Send them to your insurance place. If you send them to Comsure, they'll sort them out.
Correct. So Comsure has sourced a couple of insurers that will still cover, and you can transition or you can change your policy over to them to cover you if you do that kind of work.
They're great. Every 12 months they just send me a new thing and they go, your insurance company's going to charge you this, but we're going here. And I was, okay, do it.
Excellent. That's actually good feedback, David.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions or anything, or are we going to wrap up? No? All right. Well, thank you everyone for your time this evening. We hope that you found value in attending. As Kim mentioned, the COVID vaccination webinar will be held on Wednesday. What time, Kim?
It's going to be at 10 o'clock and we're sending out communication to members tomorrow.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your evening. And this is our final members meeting for the year. And we'll circulate new dates for 2022 next year. Thank you, everyone.
Merry Christmas and a safe New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.